Hi folks, I'm Matt, and it's time for a board game review! Alright, today we're going to review a game that no one ever has reviewed on the internet before, or talked about, or know about. I'm kidding, it's Settlers of Catan. I do want to show you this game, even though you may know it. Some of you aren't gamers. You say, well, I see this game at Walmart and Target, and gee, what is it about, Matt? Well, here we go. So here's the board. Here's how it's set up. Very fun game, very easy game to understand. You set up tiles randomly around the board. The desert tile is always in the middle with the robber, and I'll talk about him in a minute. Then you also put up these little tokens with numbers on them that signify die rolls. And you see here, there are 2 dice that you will roll. Now, the thing is, why do we have red numbers on some of these? Because those are numbers that are most likely to come up, the 8 and the 6. So those are hot numbers. You can see the probability of them coming up based on the die rolls. There's 4 for that one, 3. There's only 2 ways to roll a 3. Only 1 way to roll a 2, of course, with snake eyes. Same thing with 12. So those would most likely not get hit, but yet I've seen games where everyone's rolling snake eyes. It's kind of wild. But you would set up with a settlement and a road, okay? And everyone gets 2 settlements and 2 roads on the start of their turn, and they just go around the board placing a settlement somewhere on some of these hexagonal corners here. So let's say if I hit it there, and I can put my road anywhere. And look at that. Now if an 11, 10, or 9 are rolled, I am going to get one of these resources here. And the resources are all different. This signifies brick, this is sheep, this is ore, this is wood, and that is wheat. If you need more looks, there's some of the cards that you would collect if any of those numbers are done. So that's how you can play it. Now you cannot put another settlement next to that settlement. Like you can't put, of course, on that corner, you can't put it here. It has to be at least 2 hectagon lines away from another settlement. So that's one of the rules there. Now, why do you need resources? Well, you can build various things. You can build more settlements, more roads. Of course, you have to build roads to get to the settlement. So if I wanted to build another settlement, I had to build another road and put a settlement there. See how that works? I can't put one there because there's a settlement there. So you have to build that. You can also change houses into cities. Ta-da! Now, why do I want to do that? Well, plus it gives me an extra victory point, and the goal is to get 10 victory points to win. But this would be an extra victory point, plus now I get 2 of each item if it's rolled. So for instance, if they rolled a 10, I would get 2 sheep instead of 1. So how do you know what to buy what? Well, let me show you. It comes with these little easy cards that every player gets that can show them, okay, to build a road, I need 1 brick and 1 wood. To build a settlement, I need that. To build a city, I need that. To buy a development card, I'll get that. What are development cards? Development cards are here. They have certain special abilities. Sometimes they allow you to do things. Sometimes they give you, let's see if I can find one. Yeah. Sometimes they give you victory points, which are really nice. Sometimes they give you knights. Well, why would you need a knight? Well, a knight, you can move the robber and steal a resource card from the owner adjacent to a settlement or city, which is nice. They can do that, and I'll explain the robber there in a minute. You can move him with a knight, but if you have 3 of these, you also get this. This little token is the largest army. It's worth 2 victory points to the first one to have 3 knights under their service. Now, if someone beats them and gets 4 knights, then that card will go to them until the game ends and someone will end with this card in their hand. Or if you use one of your knights, you only have 2, you would lose the largest army because you no longer have 3, which is the base that's needed. Or if someone else had 3, it would go to them. There's another victory point like that card called the longest road. It's worth 2 victory points. If I can get 5 of these roads connecting, whether it be through cities or settlements or on their own, then I would collect this one worth 2 victory points. Now if someone beat me and they had more than 5, let's say the next player got 6 roads, well then this card would go to them. And it would shift to whoever had the longest road until the end of the game. Someone's going to end with this card in their hand. Those are just a few ways to build victory points. A settlement is worth 1 victory point, so when you're building extra settlements, that's worth a victory point. And as I said, cities are worth 2. And of course, the development cards will have various victory points within them. Now, if you notice, the one number that's not on here is a 7. That's because whenever you roll a 7, that's when you have to move the robber. Now what does the robber do? Well, he does some bad stuff. You move the robber maybe on an opponent's square. So every time a 9 is rolled, I will not get brick now because the robber's there. Oh no, that's terrible. And until someone else rolls a 7, then, oh look, 6, I came close. But if it was a 7, let's say, boom, then I can move the robber maybe back to the desert if I wanted to, or to someone else's area so they can stop production. The robber's the antagonist. He can screw over other players or help benefit you, or if you're wanting to be nice, you can just put him back into the desert. It just depends on who's playing with me is what happens to the robber. Another bad thing about the robber, though, is if you do roll a 7 and you have more than 7 of these cards in your hand, you've got to round it down, half it down. So if I had 10 cards, it'd have to be down to 5. If I had 11 cards, it would be 5. I had to round down to 5 cards because it's half rounded down. So it's never a good idea to hoard a bunch of items. Now, let's say that I get tons of brick, I get sheep, I get wood, but I don't get much ore, let's say, because I don't have anyone over there. Well, how can I get ore? Well, I have plenty of wood, let's say. I can trade in 4 wood to the bank and get 1 ore. Well, I got 2 there because I'm a cheater. But you can get 1 ore, and that's how you can trade to get the stuff you need to build whatever it is you're wanting to build. Now, other ways to help you do that would be if you were to put a settlement on a coastline. You see these little ship tokens? You can pick up that ship token, that's yours, and this one says 3 for 1 of anything. That means I can trade 3 of any resource for 1 of that other resource instead of 4 like I usually do. Some of these are very specific, like 2 for 1 for wood, for sheep, for wheat, and so on and so forth. So it does benefit you by putting a settlement on the ocean, even though, man, I'm only going to hit 1 octagon or maybe 2 at best. At least I get this ship token to where I can get wood very quickly. These would be beneficial. So I like how they did that to add a little bit more importance to the outside of the ring, because otherwise, why would you do it? Anyway, the game works really simple. That's basically it. You can look online. There's tons of gameplays for it, and that is Settlers of Catan. So I guess I should answer this very basic question. Matt, why are you reviewing Settlers of Catan? I mean, what's next? Monopoly? No, the reason I'm doing reviewing Settlers of Catan is because it's very significant. Honestly, this is the biggest gateway game to get more people interested in board games. I know of no other game that's been more significant. Now in my group, that gateway game has been zombies. Whenever anyone comes over, if they haven't played board games, I always get them to play zombies because I love it, and who doesn't love shooting zombies? Walking Dead's real popular. It's a great gateway game. Settlers of Catan has been around for years now, and it's been a huge gateway game for tons of people. I myself didn't play it till, about 5 years ago. That was the first time I'd ever played that board game. I had a ton of fun, but I didn't buy it because I was like, well, I'm not going to be buying board games. Zombies was the one that got me interested and go, wow, I've got to buy board games. About, I'd say maybe a month ago, someone brought by Catan and said, hey Matt, I just bought this game. Can you show me how it's played? I said, yeah, sure, let's go over it. And so we played it, and I had a lot of fun. And then I asked if I could borrow it from my buddy, and I went and took it to my nephews, and they loved it. And then everywhere we go, we're playing Catan, and we love it. And I was thinking, yeah, you know, I kind of do like Catan. So I went ahead and bought it, and I'm happily have it in my collection. And I also have all the expansions, of course. I'm a completist. So I will be reviewing the expansions for the next following weeks. But for Settlers of Catan, it is a great game. Don't let people fool you. Some people say, oh, it's very simple, it's kind of stupid. It is very simple, it's very easy to learn, but it's a very fun game. Looking at it just by the pieces and the board, you wouldn't think it'd be that fun, but I'm telling you, try it out. Surely someone you know has it. Or you can get it at Walmart for really cheap. It's a good deal. I promise you won't forget it. If you don't play board games, at least try Settlers of Catan. I would say that's the one that everyone can usually get behind once they understand the mechanics of it and really have a load of fun. Now, if you have Settlers of Catan but you do not have the expansions, tune in because I am going to be reviewing those as well, and I think they'd be very beneficial. All right, gamers, that's it for now. Until then, game on!